I looked at my dad, I said, "Dad, if you try to take my drugs from me, I'm gonna kill you." I grew up in a traditional Southern American family. We went to church regularly. And when I was 8 years old, I was actually baptized at my church. Soon after I was baptized, I remember actually spending time with some friends from school who came over to my house. They got on the internet and they showed me these websites with images that I'd never seen before, and I was exposed to evil and bad things. It began to show me that there was a whole nother world out there. After having those experiences at 8 or 9 years old, I really found myself going down a path of anger and depression, and started rebelling from my parents and rebelling at school and getting in trouble. And around the age of 12 and 13 is really when I started drinking and doing drugs on a regular basis. When I was 15 years old, one of my best friends, he told me that he had stolen some prescription painkillers from his dad. And I'll never forget that first time trying prescription painkillers. When I began to feel its effects, the feeling that overcame me was really a feeling of peace, of calmness, of confidence. It was like everything that I was hoping that I could be, everything that I was hoping that I could feel, I began to experience as I began to take those drugs. Immediately from day one, I decided I don't ever want to stop feeling this way. At the age of 18, my friends, some of them started using heroin. And when they started doing that, that's when I was first introduced to street drugs. At first, I would begin to, pray to God or ask God to change my situation. But then really quickly, I began to believe a lie that my problems, my issues, the way that everything had worked out, that it was God's fault. I was, at a place where I was like, I don't believe in God anymore. I completely walked away from Him. I packed a bag and ended up living homeless on the streets of Atlanta. I remember just being out there and was basically stealing and selling everything I had to survive and to get my next fix. And on a Sunday morning, I was in one of my drug dealers' houses. That morning, apparently my parents, they had gone to church and they had told their Sunday school class that they had no idea where I was and they didn't know if I was alive or if I was dead. And the Sunday school class prayed for me that Sunday morning. And it was just a few hours later, I called my dad. Someone had told him about a program called Teen Challenge. So when I called my dad, he was excited. And he said, "Andrew, I found out about this program." He's like, "We'll help you again. We'll help you get into this program if you're ready." And I just told my dad, I was like, "I'm not ready." And the next morning, I was awakened and a voice spoke to me, not audibly, but just like it was in my head. And the thought that came into my mind, it happened 3 times, was if you don't get out of this situation, something really bad is gonna happen to you. So I thought I was going crazy. And I ended up calling my dad. I said, "Dad, I need you to come get me, I'm ready." So my dad ended up coming into the city and he was looking around for me. And by that time that he got downtown, I had already changed my mind and I had gone and bought more drugs and I was hiding behind an abandoned house. And when my dad found me, he ended up coming back behind this abandoned house and I looked at my dad, I said, "Dad, if you try to take my drugs from me, I'm gonna kill you." My dad said, "I'm not gonna take the drugs from you." He's like, "Son, I love you. I just want you to come with me." And my dad sat there and he watched me for the next 30 minutes as I used all the drugs that I had on me. And finally, I just laid the needles down. I put the crack pipe down and I just said, "All right, Dad, I'm ready." Got in the car and my dad took me to a detox and then they got me into a Teen Challenge program. When I got into the program, I was really angry with God. I wanted nothing to do with Christians or with church or with the Bible. And suddenly I was immersed into an environment that was full of Christians and the church and the Bible. And I actually really hated being at Teen Challenge. And I broke all the rules, did everything that I wasn't supposed to do, and I ended up getting in trouble. And Sunday evening, one of the staff members came up to me and he just began to talk to me. And as he talked to me, he began to tell me that God had a plan for my life that was greater, that God was gonna use me, that God had all these amazing things in store for me. As he was saying it, I began to actually experience, I don't know how to explain it, I just started to experience God's love. I felt it, I knew it, it became real. I began to have this understanding like, wow, God's close to me He loves me in spite of my wickedness, in spite of my failures, in spite of me actually even in my heart hating him. He still loved me. I got on my knees and I just said, God, I surrender. I'm gonna stop fighting what you've been trying to do in my life. I'm gonna give you my life. I'm gonna give you my heart. I completed the program and I ended up, really growing in the Word of God, learning the Word of God, was discipled, I was challenged. My selfishness, my desire to do things my own way, all those things were challenged as I was growing in the Lord, and God really started to shape me and transform my life. Today, I lead a ministry called Take the City. We have an opportunity to share the gospel with thousands of people, not only here in our city, but all over the world, where we help to train and equip others who have a passion to reach the lost. No matter what kind of situation you're dealing with or what you're going through, no matter if the situation feels dark and hopeless, I just want to declare that there is hope in that situation and that Jesus is able to do miraculous and incredible things, no matter how dark and how hopeless it may seem.